Andrew, Bolt Bros here. I want to do a real quick reaction video on a recent signing we just had today. We got some folks on the defensive line. Nick Williams signed with the Bolts this morning. So, guys, let's get into it. All right, folks, as always, like and subscribe if you do enjoy the content. Again, here we cover the Chargers and everything Bolts. So, yeah, so let's talk a little bit about this guy here. All butt and gut. Some guy on the line, man. Again, he was signed and let's see, seventh round, 223rd over by the Steelers in the 2013 draft. Friends of Chase Daniel actually broke the story. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second, but he played most recently the Giants, Lions, Bears, where he did play with Brandon Staley. Brandon Staley was his defensive coach, so he knows the system that Brandon Staley is using. Big reason why I think we actually signed him. Played for the Dolphins, Chiefs, and we did get a one-year agreement with him as well, too. So over 9 seasons, he totaled around 125 career sacks, 67 total, 7.5 sacks, 12 sacks for loss, and a number of pass defense and fumble recoveries. But as a member of the Bears, he definitely had his best year under Brandon Staley. So again, he had a career high in sacks and the second most of any of Chicago's defenders. Actually, that year with the Bears specifically, he actually got a very large contract. I think when he went to the Lions, I believe is what I read, but it was like a 2-year, $10 million deal, right? So that's really what really brought him to fame as far as a defensive lineman's concerned. So again, why this guy, right? Well, I think it's a pretty simple conversation. Bottom line, we had a ton of injuries last season on our defensive line, and at least this guy gives us some depth, some opportunity to, take some reps. I actually can see a lot of, rotation, going through. So let's go to the Pro Football Focus, kind of see what PFF says a little bit about it. I thought it was really interesting, reading up on this guy. I was pretty interested to see his, oh yeah, that's right. Yep, that performance deal, $10 million to the Lions, right? And again. Look, he's had good seasons, but the man's 33 years old, right? So you got a 1-year deal, probably going to retire Charger. Maybe this is a conversation where he said, "Hey, look, all right, I got a little gas left in the tank. Why don't we, go somewhere where I was successful?" And he was successful in a brand stage, so that's why he's here. Now, again, let's talk about some other folks that we already have. So our defensive and nose tackle groups is Sebastian Joseph Day. Not many people are going to get past him. Austin Johnson. He did work. He did play with Austin Johnson at the Giants. Then we got Tito, who was coming on. Then we got Chris Hitton as well too. So it'll be really interesting to see how much play time this man gets. But I'll say this, guys. Look, at the end of the day, bottom line, we need depth. There's some guys in undrafted free agent rooms. I think what really hurts them more than anything is that this guy is signed, right? He's taking up a roster spot. So some of these undrafted free agents we have, like Gerard Clark, a lot of people really like him. I'm pretty high on him right now as far as undrafted free agent making the team. But this guy's going to affect his ability to actually get any play time or even making the squad in general. So again, we're going to track and monitor that as well too. But let's talk a little about how it broke. The news broke. I thought it was pretty interesting. I'm partially why I'm bringing this up is because Chase Daniel broke it. I did mention that earlier. But the interesting thing about Chase Daniel is that, obviously he hasn't signed with any other team at this point, but I am the source. I thought that was pretty cool because bottom line, Chase Daniel's going to retire. He's no longer going to be, playing football. I would assume. You never know how it goes, right? But again, I think he's hanging up the cleats most likely. But here we go. He's Chase and our boy Nick here. So it's exciting to see, right? Again. When we talk about roster construction, right, it's really good to see that we are doing a good job of, adding depth, right? That's what this team still to some degree doesn't have, right? And this guy adds more depth. He went to Sanford, very low draft pick, but, at the end of the day, he busted his ass and became a good player in the NFL. And so, it's a good point, to really just sit back and just remember. But again, it's a good position group. We had way too many injuries last season. I remember we picked up David Moa, I believe, from the Falcons practice squad, right? And it was just like, my God, can we get people healthy at all? I mean, it was just so frustrating how bad it was. And again, this is a great little video. I would hit play, but it'll probably take me somewhere else. But again, this Nick Filato, really liked him as well. Very good defensive player. Again, remember, when Brandon Staley's defense, these guys really aren't there to get sacks, right? They're there to plug holes. Like I've been watching a lot of videos on that recently. And bottom line, guys, right? He does a very good job of just plugging holes. That's what you need. You want to cover the A gap, B gap. Typically under Brandon Staley's, they run the tight front, which is 3 defensive linemen, and then maybe 2 edge rushers, as you kind of can see here as well, too. So I think he'll do well. He's a locker room guy, going to give some veteran presence on the defensive line. And look, at the end of the day, guys, clearly this coaching staff likes veterans, right? And so obviously they got a very good deal, gives us some depth. Be interesting to see who we cut. Nothing that I can see. Now I think our roster is at 89. So I think going into training camp, probably got one more roster spot going into training. You usually want to go with 90 and then you kind of go from there. So will be very interesting to see what happens with that final spot. Again, I still think John Johnson would be great, but I'm hearing a lot of people talk about JT Woods, and we think he's probably going to step up, for the Chargers. But guys, what do you think about this, pickup? I mean, I really do think that, he's, really a good depth piece. Again, he's not the answer. He's not going to step in and probably be a day one starter, but at the end of the day, they'll probably rotate him in and out. I mean, let's pray that we don't have any injuries as we've had so much in the past. So as always, Andrew, Bolt Bros, see you guys in the next one.